What does the world of IT look like for the person that is analytically minded? Let's dive into that right now. You are listening to the IT Path Podcast. I'm your host, Dana Morrison. Let's go and help you claim your journey into IT. This is Dana at IT Path, and we are going to keep you moving ahead on that journey step by step, one piece at a time. And that is our goal. We want to motivate you to take your journey into IT. If tech is resonating in your spirit, there is no reason to wait. It could never be easier to get into IT, and you do not have to spend an expensive education in order to make that happen. And this is what we're doing. We're trying to get you going on that journey. And last week we were talking about the visual learners. The visual learner who is the person that just likes to consume things visually, and how that can relate to being able to offer visual tools to the market. Things like website design and UI, user interface design, and all of that. Well, this week we're going to go into the next one, which is analytical. And if you haven't taken the itpath.net assessment, you can go there now. You can go and you can click on the link that gives you type in your email address, it shoots you an email, and it's got a link to access the free IT skills and interest report. There are 16 areas. There's 8 personal qualities, and then there's 8 areas of IT interest that you are graded on. It's visual, analytical, communication, solutions, social, team, hands-on, solo, security, software, websites, hardware, network, databases, programming, cloud. I'm throwing a lot of words at you, but don't worry about it. If you get that assessment, it will make sense, because every one of these areas asks you a very simple question. And here's the question we're going to dive into right now, is for the analytically minded. Analytical learners prefer to break down complex problems into smaller components and analyze them systematically. Does that describe you? Are you analytically minded? Do you like to solve puzzles? Do you like to think about problems? Does something just bother you and you want to figure it out and you just can't let it go? Then you're probably high on this analytical scale. So what does that mean for you as it pertains to getting your start in IT? Well, let's dive into that. So I'm going to be reading, some of this is going to come straight from the assessment report, and it's hopefully an encouragement to you that you can get started. There are some entry-level opportunities for the analytically minded, but let's dive into what that means. So analytical learners, again, prefer to break down complex problems into smaller components and analyze them systematically. This is like going from, you can't just go from A to Z. It's the steps in between. The analytically minded is going to want to adhere to some sort of structure that allows them to logically process through the steps and make sure that what they're presenting for solutions is going to be consistent, is going to be right. So let's talk about some entry-level jobs that it has to do with the analytically minded. One, right off the bat, is data analyst. So like before, what I'm going to do is and this is really a continuation of what we were looking at last week. If you didn't hear that one about visual learners, go back and take a listen to that. If you are not into visual and graphics and all that stuff at all, then hey, you're in the right place. Just continue on right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to salary.com, and I'm typing in the title data analyst, and I'm putting entry level into the job title areas. So we're just getting the entry level position. So entry data analyst, that's what we're looking at right here. And what does it say? It says the median is 68 grand, the low end is 55, and the high end is 84. So this is 68 grand is somewhere in the middle. So starting jobs, probably you're going to be looking at the lower end of this, 50 to 55, 60, somewhere in there. And on the higher end is going to be that 84 grand. That's going to come after some experience likely. I'm not plugging in regions into this. You can go do your own research and do it based off of your own location. If you go to salary.com, it allows you to put in your location and some other pieces of information that help you kind of get more accurate uh, with that estimated salary range. But let's walk into this. Let's go into this data analyst position. Data analysts collect, analyze, and interpret large sets of data to uncover patterns, trends, and insights. So basically, think about reports. Think about large data sets in CSV files or in large databases and what you can do with that to glean insight for the company from that information. Analytical individuals excel in this role as they possess strong critical thinking and problem solving skills. So if you are a strong critical thinker, then an analysis, a role in analysis might align with how you're already wired, right? Because it's not about trying to reteach you everything from the ground up. That's going to be a very long process. If you are not analytically minded, it's going to take a long time to try and get, and you're probably not going to like it. Because if you're not feeling like this is already how you're wired, you're like pushing a rock uphill. Well, let's not push the rock uphill. Let's kind of like move the block from underneath the rock and let it roll downhill, gain some momentum. That's what we're trying to do here. So it allows you, this idea of you want to make sense of complex data and provide valuable insights for decision making. And that is what a data analyst is and does. And that can come in a lot of different forms. What are some ways that you could get started with just some data analyst tools? Well, one thing you could do is you could get onto Microsoft 365 and get yourself a Power BI account. That's probably a pretty easy way to get started with data analysis. And you can get some data sets, you can plug them in there. Now, I will say Power BI, if you're a Mac user, this might be a problem because Power BI, to my knowledge, only has the client available for PC. When you publish them, they go to your reports online. And that might be a problem for you. You might not be able to do Power BI if you're only on a Mac or you're only on a Linux machine. Could be more of a struggle for you learning that. If you're really serious about learning Power BI, then you're going to need to go get yourself a PC. Windows PC that you can install that software on. It works awesome. When I first started doing Power BI stuff 3 years ago, I had a lot of questions. But as I started to use it and got familiar with it, I realized, oh my goodness, this is really super powerful. It's a great way to get, and since the Power Stack in general, Power BI is included in the Power Stack. When you think about when you look at Power solutions in jobs and all of that, you're going to find Power, basically people that can architect and Power Automate, Power Apps. Logic Apps is also out there, but that's more on the Azure side of things, and Power BI. That's like the triad, and then you also have SharePoint. The SharePoint is going to interface with any of those. And so that's like 4 applications that really go together very strongly. And the data analyst is going to be able to have some comfort with those skills if you're in that Microsoft Power type stack. All right. So that is a data analyst. Now, I've used there's lots of other tools, by the way. There are other means to write reports. There's QuickSight in AWS, and QuickSight I was not much of a fan of. There are a lot of other online reports, and there's a lot of like custom stuff with a proprietary stuff that works just inside a particular platform for writing reports. You can do some report writing searches and things, and you'll find just a ton of stuff about just different kinds of ways that you can extract information and reports. And it really depends on who you're working for and what kind of problem they're trying to solve. You want to be able to align yourself with the business problems, and being a good at data analysis is going to uh, put you in a position where somebody can ask you a question. Is this extract this information and do cross lookups and put this in a table, and data sort this, or date sort it, or make it so that you can only extract certain pieces of information from this. If that is your thing and you like that, you like graphs, charts, all of that stuff, then analysis role with reports might be your thing. Okay, enough on that. And now I will also say the analyst mind. Well, we'll get there. Never mind. Yeah, quality assurance analyst. So again, I'm going to go over to salary.com. Let's do entry level quality assurance analyst. Get my salary estimate. And what do we have here? And we've got median of 66K. The low side is 51 and the high side is 79, almost 80K. So that's kind of what we're looking at, or at a range here. And this quality assurance analyst. This is what we've got for this one. Quality assurance analysts test and evaluate software applications or systems to ensure that they meet specified requirements and perform as expected. Analytical individuals are well suited for this role, as they have taken an eye for detail and possess the ability to systematically identify and resolve issues, ensuring high quality deliverables. And when you go back and you tie this back to the previous one, the data analyst, remember the data analyst says allowing them to make sense of complex data, right? So the piece by piece of being able to understand the process and tear that apart is going to be what is going to make a good quality assurance analyst. That person's going to be able to understand defect rates and a lot of other data that has to do with the quality of the output. Are the machines running optimally? Are the machines prone to error? What is that error rate? And how does that impact sales, and all of that other stuff, right? So this is, again, this high level, or this very detailed level of thinking, I should say low level thinking, right? Because you're really thinking about how everything ties together. All right, let's keep moving. IT support analyst. Now, let's do this. Entry level IT support analyst. And what do we have here for this? Oh, it threw me an ad. That's the way it goes. All right, let's do this. Okay, the median is 55K, the low end is 35K, and the high end is 66. Now, there's quite a range in this as far as entry level IT support analyst. And the reason is there's a lot of different kinds of jobs out there that require tech support. If you're working tech support in a school system and they're maintaining laptops, and you've got to troubleshoot laptops with students or teachers, or maybe install printers and that sort of thing, then that support analyst role is going to probably be a lower paying position. If you're doing this role with a higher, with people that are being paid more money, let's just put it that way. Bigger businesses that have to think about how to support hundreds or thousands of devices, then, or maybe even hundreds of thousands of devices, then this is probably going to be a higher paying position, because you're going to be required to think much larger. Okay, so what is this IT support analyst? What does this person do? This is tech support. This is your tech support role. IT support analysts provide technical assistance to end users. They troubleshoot hardware or software issues and resolve technical problems. Analytical individuals are a good fit at this role because they possess a strong ability to problem solve and the ability to logically diagnose and resolve technical issues efficiently. So this is the help desk. So don't be confused when you see IT support analysts. Some of you out there might be thinking, "Oh, I don't want to work in a help desk." Oh, probably at some point you should. I think it's a great experience to have. Um, but if you're like totally averse to help desk, I can't deal with people, that's not my thing or whatever. Well, guess what? In a help desk, you can also work solo. Just because it's a help desk role doesn't mean like you're there and people are walking up to you and you got to solve the problem in the moment. No, I've worked with various help desks that some are like that. Like you've got to be able to kind of like somebody's going to walk in, you got to be able to kind of solve the problem on the fly. But then there's also help desks where people drop off particular pieces of hardware and then you help them or you document something to help them and then you maybe respond back to them in a ticketing system. And so if you're kind of like a loner kind of person, don't let that uh, don't let that persuade you from uh, being engaged in a IT support role. If you're like the loner and you're like, I just rather just keep to myself, keep my head down, nose to the grind, and just get it done, then this is actually can be a really good fit. So explore that as an opportunity. Now let's go to okay. So the little stories, whatever. You all, I've talked about on IT Path how I worked in a support analyst role many times and always kind of like ended up moving up to director. This is a very good entry level role. Now, I know that the pay scale tends to be lower on this role, but it is great because you get exposure to a lot of different systems. You're going to be asked questions or asked to research things that might have to do with a lot of different systems, a lot of different things that businesses are trying to bring all this stuff together and make all this stuff talk. And sometimes it comes down to the support analyst. Like I'm leaning on my guy Chris. I'm leaning on him a lot. Go do some research on this and tell me what you think. And then he'll come back and he'll say, okay, well, this is what I did and this is what I think about it. And perfect. It gives him exposure to a lot of new technologies. Also, it makes him an invaluable resource to me because I can lean on him. And eventually we've gotten to the place where I can really trust his opinion about something. And that is what makes a very good IT support analyst. Okay, business analyst. This is more like a higher kind of position, but let's talk about business analysts. And I'm curious here what's going to come up. Entry level business analyst. Let's see what this pay scale ends up looking like from. All right, so we've got entry level financial analyst, entry business systems analyst. Let's try that one. There's a few different titles that are coming up. There's entry level forensic computer analyst, but let's just do business systems analyst for the sake of this conversation. And what we've got is a median of 65, the low of 52, and a high of 79. This is entry. Okay. So that 79 is, you really got to be great at what you do to be able to achieve that out of the gate. But that median is 65. That can be pretty attractive if you're an analytically minded person. And what does this mean? What is a business systems analyst? Business analysts analyze business processes, gather requirements, and propose solutions to improve efficiency and effectiveness. Analytical individuals are well suited for this role as they can evaluate complex business problems, identify areas for improvement, and provide data-driven insights and recommendations. Are you seeing the theme here? This analytically minded person is going to be able to dive into the detail. If that is you, then this could be for you. Now, I am definitely wired this way. Now, take this with what we talked about last week with technical illustrations, like I was mentioned last week about being able to do complex flow charts and things like that can represent these incredibly complex problems in the business and trying to do it in a way where my boss can just look at that and digest it and understand exactly where I'm coming from and exactly how these systems work. Well, they now tie it into what you're hearing here, and this is why for me, these skills just really couple right together. That visual and these analytical skills couple right together for me. Maybe they don't for you, but this is the way that I think, and this is the way that I've been able to be beneficial in my own company that I'm with. So uh, business analysts, they gather requirements, they propose solutions. They are well suited because they evaluate complex business problems, right? Identifying areas for improvement and providing data driven insights and recommendations. Analytical roles, I'll give you a little warning flag here, something that I've learned throughout the years. And this, I'm just trying to impart to you a little bit of wisdom in this. Sometimes in these roles, you're going to be asked to extract information from different reports or whatever that somebody's trying to generate an outcome. If somebody is going into the data already making an assumption, then they're going to write reports to confirm the assumption. A good data analyst, a good business analyst, a good systems analyst, a good IT support analyst, a QA analyst, all of these analyst roles, they're going to be able to take that information in the raw and give the facts out of it without compromising data integrity. So if you're trying to favor certain scenarios and you only take a certain portion of the data set, then that's not actually doing this kind of role properly. You want to grab as much data as possible. So how can you get started with this? Again, it ties back into thinking about Power BI and that power stack and thinking about how you generate reports and all of that, but also evaluating complex business problems. Are you the kind of person that when you walk into a room and you see a bunch of processes going on, let's say widgets are being manufactured, and over here at this table, they're putting one part on the widget. And then over here on this table, they're putting another part in the widget. When you walk into rooms like that, are you thinking this process would be a little bit easier if maybe these tables were moved closer together? Maybe if they were standing across the table from each other so they could actually talk while they're doing the job. I don't know. Different things like that. Does your mind work that way, that you're thinking about like the process side of things? If it is, then you could very well be suited for a business analyst role. All right, one more here, and then we're going to get to some suggested trainings. And a lot of these trainings are going to align with, what we've said before, what I said last time. And let me give you that. Let me give this last one. Entry level systems analyst. So what does salary.com say about this one? All right. Well, we've got a few different job titles again: entry level financial systems analyst, entry level billing systems analyst, entry business systems analyst. Well, let's do the business systems. And what do we have here? Is this the same one? I actually think this might be the same. This is giving me a lot of the same information here. The title breakdown doesn't work necessarily that well on this one. Let me see if we can find a better hit. Yeah, I'm not finding a lot on this, but let's talk about it. Systems analysis. Systems analysts assess, design, and implement information systems that meet organizational needs. Analytical individuals thrive in this role as they can analyze the existing systems, identify areas for improvement, and propose effective solutions by considering both technical and business requirements. Business comes to you and they have a need. They have something that they're trying to fulfill. And a good systems analyst is going to be able to look at that problem and say, okay, this is how we do that. Now, I think, I don't know about for you, but immediately in my mind, I see how this ties into every other piece in this entry-level job list. When you think of data analysts, remember they're taking the complex data. You've got the quality assurance analyst who is looking at the output, making sure it's up to par. You've got the IT support analyst, which is making sure that this can be supported technically. You've got the business analyst that's looking on these data-driven insights. And now you have the systems analyst who is really taking all of those other things and making some process that maybe improves something or is some way to develop or manufacture something in a new way. And if you're talking about systems, then you're talking about the IT stack, the IT systems, programming, flows, all sorts of different computer systems, databases, and all of those things that are required to come in together in orchestration for the role, the business that is moving forward and producing something that other people are buying. And that is kind of like where the systems analyst falls. All right. That's a lot of information. I've given you these and I feel like this is kind of dry right now. Let me get a drink of water, take a short break, and let me come back and let me share you some stories about some of these roles. And hopefully that will help connect for you. Hey, this is Dana Morrison, host of the IT Path podcast, and I hope you are enjoying this week's episode. Are you interested in getting into IT? Let me ask you one simple question. What is holding you back? IT Path is dedicated to developing a community, content, and courses that will help you get unlocked and stay unlocked on your IT journey. I have more than 25 years experience in IT, and I want to share with you what I've learned and give you the tools to succeed on your very own IT path. Even if you are just starting out on your IT journey, we're here for you. To find out more, simply go to itpath.net and sign up for the mailing list, and we will start by sharing some tips, tricks, and tools to help you get going and keep you going. Go to itpath.net and claim your journey. Start your IT path today. Thank you so much, and let's get back to the episode. Okay, welcome back. As we talk about these analysis types of roles, these analyst roles, let me share a little bit of a story with you about some complicated systems and the kinds of things that we've been solving at a business that I'm with right now. I'm not going to go into every little detail. Some of that would be proprietary information. I don't know that my employer would appreciate that, but I can tell you some high-level things. In this business that I am in, we have a lot of orders that come in, and every day there could be, I don't know, let's say hundreds or thousands of orders that come in, very minimum hundreds. And every day when these orders come in, somebody is sitting at a computer looking at a list of these orders, and they're going in to highlight a bunch of orders and then say, okay, I want to allocate these orders, which means I want to make the product, I want to make the product available to these orders that we have. And then I want to do something called a pick. And that pick sends those orders into this state where now somebody, a picker, can actually go back and can pull products off the shelf that now go with these orders. Every day in this business, that process was taking hours. Now, I'm not even talking about the process of actually picking the orders. I just mean the process of allocating them and getting them ready and then printing out what we call a pick ticket in this industry, to put that in the hands of a picker who's going to go find those things and put that together so that can be shipped out the door. And that process was taking hours. So in these roles that you see here, this is the application. So we're talking about, IT support analyst, data analyst, quality assurance analyst, all of these things. And these analyst roles have this thing in common, this root in common. An analyst can basically pick apart an entire process and understand it from start to finish. Somebody who's analytically minded is going to be able to do that. So it became my role to figure out what can we do to actually make this process easier. And you think, okay, well, what if we could handle some of those tasks automatically? What if when they came in the morning, they could just hit a button and those orders would automatically allocate and they would automatically pick? Well, that'd be super, super cool, wouldn't it? That would save them some time. Then they would only have to print them. But then thinking even further, I'm like, well, what if we could actually print them automatically? Now you think, oh my goodness, that's actually this complicated process, right? Because you're taking all of this data, you're downloading it, you're trying to figure out how you can send it to a printer, formatting it correctly, and all of those things that would be involved in trying to send this to an actual physical printer sitting in a room. Well, we figured it out. There's actually API calls out there. There's different companies that provide printing services where you can send it a PDF or you can send it a web page information and it will spit out on a printer that you so choose. So we automated that entire process: allocate, pick, print, straight into the hands of our people. Every morning they just come in and they basically just have to hit a button. And then they said, okay, well, what if we could sort the shipping on these so that we knew that the ones that were going out the door the fastest were the ones that were going to be at the top of the stack? Well, we figured that out. What if we could do this other improvement? What if we could do this other improvement? And one by one, figuring those things out and figuring it out in a way that it would be high quality, low maintenance, and just run and do its thing. And that flow has been probably one of the most rock solid flows that we've built inside the company, that it just automatically handles those functions for our team, and it has saved a tremendous amount of time and energy and resources. Do you think something like that means a lot to the high level, to the C level in a company? Absolutely. When they saw these achievements, they were blown away. This is amazing, amazing stuff. I could give you a lot of other examples of complicated things that we've done. We had a one system that's we still have it. It's this just antiquated system, and you can get information into it, but you can't edit the information after it's inside the system. It's just a real pain to work with. But that system is another one that we figured out. How can we access the database on this thing so we can extract from it what we want to extract when we want it? And those are the kinds of things that an analyst is going to be able to do for a company. And it is a skill. If you are analytically minded, you thrive on puzzles, then this is a skill that can be super, super valuable to your company. And it will grow and you will see increases in salary and all of that just naturally, because people know that you are providing a great benefit to the company. Okay, pivoting now to thinking about training training and resources. Okay, suggested training if you're an analytically minded person. Well, some of these are going to be the same, but I'm going to spit them back out again just so that you have them in front of you. Coursera. I mentioned that one before. Coursera, I think, is about $59 a month. And for unlimited, like something like 7,000 courses that they have. edX is going to be a little bit more money. There is one on this list called Udacity. And Udacity is another program that allows you to now, Udacity is more expensive, no question, but they have some skills in here where they cover that are more specific to the analytically minded. Now, again, you should consider getting an Office 365 account, getting some Power BI, and getting that rolling, and start learning a tool. And then you start learning the tool, and you could say, "Oh, this is for me," or "This is not for me." Then guess what? You haven't spent $400 on a course somewhere. Another one is Udemy. You can find courses in Udemy for Power BI and all of these things we've been talking about here. So these online courses offer a wide range of data analysis, quality assurance, business analysts, systems analysts, kinds of roles, and you'll be able to find things in there. Now, before you just jump in and do that, I would highly recommend that you go to Indeed or to some Monster or some other job board and do some searching. See what the needs are in your area for these kinds of roles. If you're going to want to work locally, then you should kind of do a little bit of recon and see what the landscape looks like for these in your area before you just start pulling the trigger on courses and all of that. Understand where you're at before you spend any money. And I would say is, spend as little money as possible. Again, I've mentioned this many times. You can spend over $7,000 in a 2-year associate's program. You could spend, and this is just minimum, you could spend 17 plus in a 4-year public college. And then again, just the minimum. So you want to make sure that you're aligning, that what you're looking for is aligning with your interests, and make sure that because that will help you remain motivated. Okay. There are various websites and platforms with free resources for analytical learners. There are courses on MIT's OpenCourseWare that you can find. There's Code Academy, Code Academy, CODECADEMY, Khan Academy, that's KHAN. They've got free courses, free tutorials, exercises that will help you with your analytical abilities. You've got to be doing, though. Do not just consume courses. You have to be getting experience. You have to volunteer that experience, whatever. Go find a nonprofit that you can reach out to and say, hey, I'm working on some ability to do reports. Is there any data that I could help work with you on and generate some reports for you in your company, you in your nonprofit, whatever it is? And somebody who's open might be open to letting you step in and try that. Internships and apprenticeships. Again, I mentioned this for visual learners. It's going to just come up over and over again. The more you can get, this is real world experience, right? When you have real world experience instead of just a piece of paper, that is going to be a huge benefit to you as you explore the world of IT. Industrial certifications now, or industry certifications, not industrial, industry certifications. There are a lot of different certifications that you can go out and get. I've talked about this before too, right? There's these different certification programs for these IT certs like A+, Network Plus, all of these things. You can find them for databases, AWS, and all of that. Here's what you need to remember, though. If you just go out and get a certification, basically you have a piece of paper. It's like having a driver's license without having to get into a car. And you're going to be dealing with valuable data. You had better get some experience dealing with data before you just say, oh, I'm just going to go through this certified program and then go land a job. If you're landing a job where you're expected, they're going to be leaning on you, on your information, your abilities, you had better have a mentor. You better have somebody in there who's helping you along in this process. Else you could be presenting bad information. So don't just say, oh, I'm going to just go get my cert and I'm going to call it good. No, you've got to practice. You've got to gain experience. And internships and apprenticeships is a great way, and start doing your own projects. That's a great way to start building experience. All right, self-study and practice, that really fits in there. Just online, YouTube. There's a ton of videos out there on Power BI on YouTube. There's a ton of videos that have to do with Power Automate, which is an application we use often, and it's rock solid application. So get some experience in those things, become familiar with those tools, become familiar with their nomenclature, so that you're not going to look like an idiot when somebody asks you a question in a job interview. You've got to get some experience. And of course, if anybody does ask you a question you don't know the answer to, that's okay. Say, I don't know, but I can find out. Just give me some time. So analyze some data sets on your own. There's a lot of data sets that are going to be available online. You can try and solve some problems that way, participate in some online forums and some communities where you can collaborate together with other people online, and all of that is going to help drive you forward. That's a lot of information. This is a data dump as we go through these. This is a data dump because this is, and I hope, maybe you listen to all of these as you go through this and trying to figure out your fit. Maybe as you hear about the analytically minded person, you're like, that's definitely not me. Well, you can probably cut some things, some opportunities right off your radar right now. If you are not analytically minded, probably being in IT support is probably not going to be your thing, just right out of the gate, because you have to be analytically minded to troubleshoot. It's critical to that. I hope this helps you. And again, I would love to hear what you're working on. Love to hear about your projects. If you've got a project that is got to do with data analysis or anything else for that matter, email me direct, dana@itpath.net. I'd love to interact with you. Find me on LinkedIn. You should find my link to LinkedIn in the show notes. And let's get connected and let's get you unlocked and keep you moving, keep you moving on your IT journey. All right, this is Dana signing off. Have an awesome day. You have been listening to the IT Path podcast. Did you like this episode? Why not subscribe and share with others? IT Path is dedicated to helping you claim your IT journey. You can find out more at itpath.net.